Hello, good afternoon. Oh, hmm. Ang aking mabait na pusa. Wait. Oh, no way. No, I'm going to, wait. Light, light. My night light. So, I'm gonna sing na lang. Yung pusa ko sa likod, tingnan mo. Ganyan siya. Mahilig siyang maglinis ng katawan niya sa kama. Okay. Teka, may bara pang nakasabit. May barang nakasabit. Ibaba natin konti. O, di ba? Na, 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 na. Lakas ang ulan sa labas, pero kakanta na lang ako. Oh, saan na? Ay, nako. Pasko ay sumapit, tayo ay mangagsiawit ang magagandang himig dahil ang Diyos ay pag-ibig. Magkukusto ay isilang, may 3 araw na sigalaw at ang bawat isa ay sipagandog na tanging alay. Bagong taon ay magbagong buhay ng ligaya na magsipag upang makanta natin ang kagalaan. Tayo ay magmahalan, ating sige ng buntong aral. Buhat ngayon ay hindi Pasko, higayan. Ang taon ay magbagong buhay ng ligaya ang ating bayan. Tayo magsipag upang makita natin ang kasagalaan. Tayo ay magsiawit dahil ito'y tahimik. Ang araw ay sumapit, kaso nagugot ng langit. Tayo ay magmahalan, at sundin ang iyong aral. At mabuhat ngayon, kahit hindi Pasko ay magligaya. Mabuhat ngayon, kahit hindi Pasko ay magligaya.
Tarea 1. María está en la biblioteca. ¿Dónde está María?
And that's why I say goodbye to language schools for good. There were 10 people.
Sa Paskong darating, Santa Claus nyo'y abutin. Pagkat kayong lahat ay naging masunurin, dadalhan ko kayo ng mansana sa ubas. May itim at tsokolate, peras, kastanyas na marami. Sa araw ng Pasko, huwag nang malulumbay, ipagdiwang ang araw habang nabubuhay. Sa Pasko darating, Santa Claus nyo'y pagurin. Pagkat kayong lahat ay mahal sa akin. Sa Pasko
Darating,
Santa Claus nyo'y
ako rin.
pagkat kayong lahat ay naging masunurin. Dadalhan ko kayo ng mansanas at ubas.
May kundi at tsokolate, peras, kastanyas na marami.
Sa araw ng Pasko, huwag nang malulumbay, ipagdiwang ang araw habang nabubuhay. Sa Pasko darating, Santa Claus nyo'y pagurin. Pagkat kayong lahat ay naging masusuri. Pagkat kayong lahat ay mahal sa
Aming bati, Merry Christmas na mamahati. Ang pag-ibig ko sa nagari, araw-araw ay maging Pasko lagi. Ang nakarito na kadamito,
sa may bahay ang ating bati. Merry Christmas na mamahati. Ang pag-ibig pagsalanay, araw-araw ay magiging Pasko lagi. Ang sanito ng pagpalito,
aginado. Kung sakaling kami perwisyo, pasensya na kayo Panginoon.
sa may bahay ang ating bati. Merry Christmas na mamahati. Ang pag-ibig pagsalanay, araw-araw ay magiging Pasko lagi. Ang sanito
Ang pagkarito, hihingi ko na aginado. Kung sakaling kami perwisyo,
pasensya na kayo sabi ng mamas ko. Ang sanito ng pagparito, hihingi ko ng aginado. Kung sakali kami perwisyo, pasensya na kayo sabi ng mamas ko. Kung sakali kami perwisyo, pasensya na kayo sabi ng mamas ko.
Kay sigla ng gabi, ang lahat ay kay saya. Nagluto ang ate ng manok na tinola. Sa bahay ng kuya ay mayroong litsunan pa. Ang bawat tahanan may handang iba't iba.
Tayo na, Giliw, masalo na tayo. Mayroon na
tayong
tinapay at keso.
Viva Noche Buena sa gabing ito.
At bukas ay araw ng Pasko.
Tayo na
magiliw, masalo na tayo. Mayroon na tayong tinapay at keso. Noche buena sa gabing ito.
At bukas ay araw ng Pasko.
kay sigla ng gabi. Ang lahat ay kay saya. Nagluto ang ate ng manok na tinola. Sa bahay ng kuya ay mayroong litsunan pa. Ang bawat tahanan may handang iba't iba. Tayo na iliw, magsalo na tayo.
Mayroon na tayong tinapay at keso. Viva Noche Buena sa gabing ito. At bukas ay araw ng Pasko. Tayo na, Giliw, magsalo na tayo. Mayroon na tayong tinapay at keso. Viva Noche Buena sa gabing ito. At bukas ay araw ng Pasko.
gabi. Ang lahat ay kay saya, nagluto ang ate ng manok na tinola. Sa bahay ng kuya ay mayroong bitsunan pa. Ang bawat
Hi, Takan!
iba't iba.
Tayo magiliw, magsalo na tayo. Mayroon na tayong tinapay at keso. Viva Noche Buena sa gabing ito.
Ang bukas ay araw ng Pasko.
Carmen, hi! Ano na tayo? Meron na tayong tinapay at keso. Viva Noche Buena sa gabing ito. Araw ng Pasko.
Ang malungkot ka. Stress ako. Kasi kailangan ko ng pera ko. Kung ganon, i-click mo ang link sa ibaba ng video para mag-
Kampanan ng
Simbahan ay nakatisip na. Maraming sasabi
na tayo magsimba. Magising ang magbago, magsilagat. At masiglang ang simbahan. Ang kampanan
ay tuluyang nang gigising. Tayong lahat ay manalangin.
ng bendisyon. Kapag nakatanda, tayo'y magkakaroon ng tigas ng pag-asa. Kinagis ka simbang gabi pagkakunahin. Pagkalaya ay tungkulin sa pananalagan. Ang kampanan ng simbahan ay iniisip niya. Tayong lahat manalangin habang nagsasimba. Ang kampanan
Hi, Yancy. Lahat ay manalangin ng bisyo. Mas ko ako, sticker. Lahat ay manalangin. Yun ang sapat ng asang. May tuluyang manatilisip. Tayong lahat ay manalangin. Kondisyon na kampana. Magkakaroon ng hikaling simbahan ay nagtiisin. Sino ngayon? Si Jazz, Takan. Lista ko nga kayo, baka makalimutan ko. Tayong lahat ay manalangin. Kondisyon. Magkakaroon ng kasagutan. Kasa. Wala na sila lahat.
Maligaya, gusto ko kaibigan. Sagana, bagong nakikita. Pag-ibang, araw na may kapal. Upang manatili sa ating ang kapalaran.
Ay, opo.
Ang buhay na lagi sa kapayapaan. Malungkot
Ninong ano po, ninang. Ano po, ninong, salamat, ninang. Ano po, ninang. Nakapunta ako sa Facebook. Okay lang yan. Bakit ka may sakit, Empress? Sinipon ka? Ano po, ninang. Lagnat o busipon. Tigas ng sprain my foot po nung pauwi ko po. First day nun. Oh, ano lang yan? Lagyan mo kasi pahirap na konti sa mama mo. Nagagaling din yan. Kasi, minom ka ng maraming water. Yung maligam-gam. Uso ngayon ang sipot, obo, kasi nga, tawag dito? Hi, Ampong. Ano yun, malamig ang panahon. Kaya uso ang ubot sipon. Yeah, andyan siya. Food, Fana. Yes, maulan. Ang nagsisend lang si bro ng ano yun? Hi, ma'am. Si Nate 8 Cooperation. Oh, sino si Nate? Sino si Nate? Apelyido mo nga. Saya. Namamasko ako, sticker. Kaya ililista ko lahat ng pangalan na nandito. Merry Christmas. So, saya. New Year. Happy New Year. Nabuwag ko ng singler. Ma'am, tin stickers po, ma'am. Sige, mag-isang oras ka dyan. Kung isang oras ako, wag kang bibitew. Bigyan kita 10 sticker ngayong araw. Haha, yes. Ito ay yung isang channel ko. 'Di ba nakita nyo 800 plus na, malapit na yan So watch time na lang ang inahabol ko na watch hour ako. I-apply ko na rin to for monetization. Merry Christmas. New Year. Happy New Year. Ang sigla. Christmas. Subscribe ko. Parang noon ka pa nag-subscribe, Empress. Ang sigla. pusa ko, nasa likod ko lang yun. Ayun, nagtago. Hindi na nakita ng camera. Simbahan. Ang dilim naman. Ano po yung nakuha mo sa Christmas party? Ay nako, actually bag na lagayan ng baunan. Hindi ko masyado gusto yon. Nakipagpalit ako kay Sir GN. Tumbler, nakuha ko tumbler. Palit kami ng sa kanya napunta yung bag, sa akin yung tumbler. Diba? Yun. Yehe. Ay, salamat sa mga gift. Parang yung gift mo, presang dito pa. Kain tayo pandesal. Digalyo. Ito ito lang pagkain ko. Saka pandesal. Silong. Nakabili ako bukas, mamaya ng malagkit. Gusto kong champurado. Masarap magkape ngayon. Oo nga. Kasi nga malamig, tapos yun. Sa digalyo, sa pag-ias ko. Nagkakapala kayo ni Mama.
Cbank is now Flowery Bank.
Actually, pag bata ka talaga,
Enjoy up to 4% interest per annum, credited daily.
for viewers.
Transfers to other banks or e-wallets.
May mga yan.
Discounts on your daily payments. QRPH.
May viewer na hindi nagpapakilala.
Get a card which gives up to 3% cashback on purchases and no FX fees when spending in store abroad.
Tama mo i-share ko to sa share ko to sa Facebook ko.
Since I started using Happy Cash, hindi na ako stress mag-isip ng pupuntan para sa paninda. Malaki ang limit. Pababa, exchange.
Perfect talaga para sa small business owner na gaya ko. Sobrang nakakatulong.
Happy Cash, for every crystal light, it's hard.
Makita mo, may manonood na yan na hindi mo kahit di ko kilala. I think kasama dito yung account ni Ma'am. Yung random na viewer, Ma'am. May mga ganun. Lala. Yeah, may mga random viewer, may nanonood. Araw na. Pasulpot-sulpot lang yan sila. Pag sa TikTok lalo, maraming viewer. Tapos sa bihira na ako ngayon. Baka mamaya mag-live ako sa TikTok. Laro tayo. Hula mamaya sa TikTok. Bata hula, may ano. Pag nanalo ka sa hulaan, may sticker yun. Yun ang hindi makalimutan nung last year na ano. Pinakamimiki. Kaya sabi na, pag-ibig nagahari. Ayos ka. Ang araw na ating pinakamimiti. Pasko na namang muli. Ay, andyan pa kayo ni andyan pa kayo ni Ampong. So, hindi ko ma-update yung yung Canva ko, guys. Kaya hindi ko ma-edit yung yung mga ano ba to? Hindi ko ma-edit tuloy yung certificate. Kasi nga, ay, ang hirap ng Canva. Okay, pinakamimiti. Pasko na namang muli ang pag-ibig naghahari. Yung second quarter, Ma'am Alice muna kami. Okay, ingat. Dervin, ingat kayo. Ang pag-ibig naghahari. Sino pala top 1 sa math? Hindi ko inaano yung top 1. Thank you. Matanggilan, ilat-ilat, kurap-kurap. Sila. Nasansin. Ng mga regalo. Okay, sige nga. Mag-share ako ng sasagutin nyo. Gusto nyo mag-mat sige, mag-mat tayo. lang. Ubat.
Sir, naranasan mo na ba ang kagipitan?
Noong kailangan ko ng pera, pagbayad ako sa delivery.
Natry mo na ba ang pet?
Huwag mag-chat GPT. Huwag ganon.
SEC regulated at 30 million people na ang gumamit nito. Isa na rin ako.
Hindi ka na ba mag-apply?
I-click mo lang ang link sa baba ng video at ilagay lang ang info mo para mag-apply online.
Oh my God! Ang bilis ko makakuha ng 20,000 pesos. Simula ngayon, ayos bet. Kapag kailangan ko agad ng pera.
Ano pa hinihintay mo? Dali na at i-click ang link sa baba ng video at i-try na ito.
What's up guys? Samahan niyo ako today dito sa Walmart Disney. Ang pagbabayad is via Domi Card. Super convenient lalo na pag may gusto kong bilhin. Pero gusto ko pagiging smart sa pag-gastos. Most of the time, we always think na kahit may gusto tayong bilhin, kailangan pa rin natin i-manage kung agad maubos ang budget natin. Kaya naman is the perfect time to have the Domi Card kasi pwede ko bayaran later with zero interest or chooses need to bill in 3 or 6 months installment. Ay, nagustuhan ko dito guys, walang hidden fees, walang annual fees per life, at sobrang bilis ng application. Kasi 90 seconds lang at walang minimum income at iba mga documents.
Ma'am Nandadaya. Sige, ito. Sagutan nyo.
Everything is tracked within the app. Your transactions, payment and bills, and maintenance and interface. So easy to use and you can also get up to 200,000 spending limit. Kaya mag-apply at mag-Domi Card na kayo, download ang Domi app now online 90 seconds and shop smart.
Ayan, sige. Ayan na, naka-flash na.
Sa pagsilang ni kumpleto ng diwang ang mundo at ang tatlong halimaw
Sige nga, sagutin nyo.
naging diwa nitong Pasko ang
Eight ang LCD. So we have 5 minus 8 divided by 4 is 2. Times 2, 4. Tama, 1/8. Very good. Oh, galing. Talagang inano mo pa? Ano yung ginawa mo? 4. Binutterfly method. Parang hindi naman Oh, butterfly method. Oh, yan. Sige. Ay, Ampong, anong sagot mo? Buti andyan ka pa. Akala ko alis ka na. Nakalimutan ko kasi. Madali lang yan. Yung mga ganyan, yung fraction, mga ano, huwag nyo kalimutan kasi basic yan na. Yun yung mga hindi dapat nakakalimutan na mga. Kasi ano yan, parang gagamitin mo siya forever. Fraction, decimals, kahit na ano. Gagamitin mo siya forever, so hindi mo siya pwedeng kalimutan. May sticker po ba to? Oo naman. Sige, lista mo lang kung ilan nakatama ka na. Okay, so paano yan naging 1/4? Ang least common denominator nito ay 12. 12 divided by 12. 1 times 3. 12 divided by 4 is 3 times 2, 6. That's negative 3 over 12 or negative 1/4. Malat ng dinuguan. May negative. Tingnan mo mabuti. 12 divided by 4, 3 times 2, 6. Eh, 3 minus 6.
Sa hirap ng buhay ngayon, minsan di mo na alam paano pagkakasya.
Same yan. Kahit gamitin mo yung butterfly method. Butterfly method, ito yun, no? 12 times 2, 24.
Buti na lang at nakilala ko ang Fido PH.
Minus,
Nakahiram ako ng pangdagdag sa budget namin ngayon ng aking pamilya.
hindi, ito mauna kasi ito yung ano yan. So 12 minus 24.
61 days. SEC at NBC regulated din ito. I-download na ang Fido PH sa Google Play Store at subukan na.
Over 12, 24, 48. Negative 12 over 48. Negative 1/4.
Kay saya ng bawat
Mauna tunak yung ano, yung 12. Kasi yung arrangement ba? Mauna ito gagawin mo, galawin mo. 12 divided by 12. 1 times 3, 3. 12 divided by 4, 3 times 2, 6. Pero pag pag nag-butterfly method ka, ito lagi nauna. Going to the left, then right. Okay, let's have another. Nagutom ako. Ang alat ng ating buhay. Ito, fraction na mixed number. Okay, ano ba yan? 9 and 3/5 plus sige nga, gawin niyo to. $15 and $1.10.
Sa labi ng bawat isa. Hindi na nais na layo. Paskong bilog sa ating puso. Lagi mo na maiisip na sila'y nandito.
Okay, sige, tama. Ang LCD dito ay 10. Okay, tama ka. 10 divided by 5, 2 times 3, 6. 10 divided by 2, 5 times 1, 5. 9 plus 6, 15. 11 over 10 or 16 . Tama ka ba? $16 and 110. Tama ka. It should be 15, 11 over 10, not 110. 16 and 110. Kasi 11 divided by 10 is 1. Yung 1 dagdag mo sa 15, that's 6. Ay, that's magiging 16. Yung 1/3 ka. Anong 1/3 ka? Hmm. 1/3 ka pa lang. Okay, wait. Asa na si Ampong? Umalis na? Let's have 3/8 plus 2/4 plus 1/2. 3/8 plus 2/4 plus 1/2. Okay, sige, yung tatlo naman. 3/8 plus 2/4 plus 1/2. Hmm. Ano yan? Lo? 0/3. Okay, sige lang. Try mo pa, Ampong. Go. Sige, 2 stickers every correct answer. Ang dinuguan, ang alat. Tapos puro taba. Ma'am, hindi pa tapos tong tot ko, ma'am. Anong tot? Hindi ka pa tapos mag-isip? Sige lang, mag-ano ka, mag-solve ka dyan. Tutorial. Hanap kayo ka klase. Para sila naman. Bibigyan ko pa rin kayo sticker kahit tama mali sagot nyo. Try ka kasi. Sabi mo sa mga klase mo, mag-ano sila. 1 and 3, 8. Ito natin. Ang LCD dito ay 8. 8 divided by 8, that's 1. Times 3, 3. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Times 2, 4. 8 divided by 2 is 4. Times 1, 4. So we have 7 plus 4, 11. 11 over 8 or 1 and 9, 10, 11. 1 and 3, 8. Oh, very good. Tama ka. Tama ka, Impress. Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah, correct. Six, 9, 2, 3, 5, 27. Mm. Sige na. Ako din naantok na. Tulog ko na muna. Okay, Elijah. Go. Maya din, matulog din ako. 1 over 14, 27. Try natin to. So for sure, ang LC dito ay 27. No? So 27, 27 divided by 9 is 3. 3 times 6, 18. 27 divided by 3 is 9 times 2, 18. 27 divided by 27 is 1 times 5 is 5. Was 18 plus 18, 36 plus 5, 36 plus 5, 41. So 41 over 27. So that is 41 divided by 27. That's only 1. So minus 27. 11 minus 7, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That is 4. So this will become 3. 1 minus 2 is 1. So we got 1 and 14 over 27. Tama ka? Oh, yan. Yeah, okay. Correct. Hmm. Sige, idlip ka muna. Ako din, hayaan ko lang to naka-flash. Hayaan ko sila mag-isip. Magbibigay ako ng kung sino mag-iwan dyan nakasolve, mamaya ako nang bahala. Okay, solve nyo to guys. Babalikan ko kayo. 137, 1/3, 421. 17 plus 1/3 plus 4 over 21. Okay, this one is also easy. Ilan sticker? Okay, so 3 over 5. 3, 2, 4, 6. 6 na. 6 plus 5 na kanina ka pa. Makaka-11 ka na ngayong araw na to. Oh, you want to stay? Stay, okay. Inaantok pa talaga ako. Idlip muna ako kasi. Actually, yung labahan ko, binabad ko lang. Pagod. Tapos, yung mga ano ko dito, flash ko lang yan. Sino man manonood, matulog muna ako. Bahala kayo. Kasi ano yan, pagpadami ko lang ng oras. Sige lang, dito ako matulog. Makikita ko yung pasang pinto. Hi, Jillian. Sagot ka lang dyan, be. Iwan ka ng ano. Paano mo lang sagot mo dyan. Tapos ano.
We can wait another day, but the day after is definitely the last chance. Lewis nodded, clearly feeling unsettled. Just then, the policewoman who was just inside came over and said to Captain Lincoln, Captain Lincoln, I think the hero looks really unwell. Women do tend to get anemic during their period. Should we check again? Hearing this, Samuel, who was about to leave, stopped in his tracks as he began to panic. Did Kira's cycle start? We're doomed. Doomed. Lewis's expression darkened. What's wrong? Samuel was pacing anxiously. If Kira doesn't get her iron supplements on time, she must have severe anemia now. But what do we do without Bale? What do we do? Without hesitation, Lewis turned and rushed towards the holding area. Samuel was stunned. When he regained his senses, he hurried to Lewis's side. Mr. Horton, are you planning on breaking in? Without saying a word, Lewis walked straight from the lobby to the detention center at the back, answering for his actions. Samuel said, You are quite bold. Surely this isn't acceptable. Without pausing, Lewis asked coldly, What else can I do? Can your boss wait until tomorrow? Definitely not. Samuel followed him. She can't last until tomorrow. There was this time when iron wasn't administered in time, and she fell into shock. We barely managed to resuscitate her. Having said that, he got anxious and added angrily, Her illness is indeed strange. Anyone else would think we're lying to them. We can't wait any longer. For her, let's risk it. As he spoke to himself, Lewis had already rushed toward the detention center. The prison guards blocked the entrance. This is a prison. Unauthorized personnel are not allowed. sorry, but I'm desperate to save someone. Without waiting for Captain Lincoln to respond, he commanded those in front of him, "Get out of the way." The few individuals at the entrance of the detention center didn't dare to stop him and hastily moved out of the way. Holding Captain Lincoln hostage, Lewis walked straight inside. Samuel McCabe followed behind him. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. He felt like he had been forced to participate in a criminal act. Now, if he said he wasn't an accomplice, these police officers certainly wouldn't believe him. Meanwhile, Kira was still lying on her threadbare bed. She looked at the two officers entering her cell. They were there to take her and Poppy to solitary confinement. She turned to Holly to explain once again. "I really am anemic." Indeed, she looked pale. Holly hesitated once more. At that point, Poppy collapsed onto the floor. "I'm the same. Oh my, I'm so dizzy. I'm about to die. Help me." Holly really couldn't tell who was faking it anymore. Poppy's performance was very convincing. Kira didn't seem to be pretending either. As she hesitated, footsteps and startled exclamations from the other officers rang out outside the door. Holly promptly turned her head, only to see Lewis holding Captain Lincoln hostage as he walked in. His gaze quickly locked onto the jail cell where Kira was held. His eyes pierced through the iron bars, fixated on Kira herself. Her face was as pale as a sheet, and she lay weakly on the bed, seemingly without the strength to even lift a finger. Lewis's pupils constricted. She always bravely stood tall, regardless of the circumstances. She never bowed her head, yet now she couldn't even sit up due to her frailty. Concerned, he said furiously, "You're abusing a suspect. I'll hold you responsible for this." Holly retorted, "We didn't. They fought with each other. Everything we've done is according to regulations." Samuel, following Lewis, saw how frail Kira was, and his eyes welled up with tears. "Boss, we're here to help you." He glared at Holly. "My boss is on her deathbed, and you still want to punish her? Do you even have humanity left?" Captain Lincoln scoffed. "I've never heard of a woman dying I'll watch the whole process to prevent them from bribing the doctor to tamper with the blood test report. With so many officers surrounding the hospital, all doctors were very nervous. So, the urgent blood test results came out in 10 minutes. Holly immediately snatched it and looked at the numbers. She couldn't believe what she saw. The rest of the blood report was normal, but the iron level had dropped drastically to a terrifyingly low level. Holly had never seen such poor data in a living person before. With the report in her hand, she walked numbly back into the ward. The atmosphere was tense. Many police surrounded the ward, and Samuel held onto Captain Lincoln without letting go. On their way here, Captain Lincoln had tried countless times to escape from Samuel's hold, but this unreliable-looking guy didn't give him an opportunity. Seeing Holly approach, Captain Lincoln said, "Samuel Morgan, the medical report is out. If you continue to hold me hostage, you'll no longer be forgiven. Our snipers are ready. As soon as it's confirmed that the suspect isn't sick, they can immediately kill you all. I advise you to put down your gun and surrender right now." Samuel scolded him. "Quit pretending." Captain Lincoln was furious. "Dr. Sims, since these people are stubborn, tell everyone what the medical results are, so these people can stop pretending. Can anemia really cause death?" Everyone immediately looked at Holly. She tightened her jaw and said solemnly, "Kira's iron levels are abnormal, and her life is in danger. Captain Lincoln, we made a mistake." Captain Lincoln was stunned. "What?" Holly stepped forward and showed the report to Captain Lincoln. "The normal level of iron in a female's blood is between 10 and 30 microliters per liter. However, Kira's iron level is just 1, which means she has a severe iron deficiency and her life is in danger." Captain Lincoln was dumbfounded. Then a reprimanding voice suddenly drowned in. "What's going on? Shouldn't she get it yesterday? Why is she only getting iron infusion now?" Everyone turned to look, and a gentle-looking man around 30 with gold-rimmed glasses walked toward them. He was wearing a white lab coat and looked at Samuel with a grim face. "She can't remember the time, but you forget it too." Feeling guilty and scolded, Samuel looked at Holly. "It's all because of this forensic doctor. She kept insisting that Kira was fine, even after Kira fainted." With growing anger, he said, "Do you need a person to die before agreeing that there is something wrong?" Being reprimanded, Holly clenched her fists, so embarrassed that she wished she could crawl into a hole. She looked into the ward. Kira was getting the drip. Her face was pale, and she looked lifeless. Holly felt like crying. Why didn't she trust Kira? She slapped herself out of anger, with tears welling up in her stubborn eyes. "It was my fault." Samuel didn't know what to say. He hadn't expected his words to bring the young woman to tears, which also stopped him from saying any more hurtful words. He then turned to Captain Lincoln. "Isn't it because you have a stereotype against rich kids? Just because some rich kids got away in past cases, does that mean all rich kids are bad people? Let me tell you this, because we are rich, we haven't encountered any trouble since we were little, so we have even more principles when doing things." Captain Lincoln's mouth twitched. Samuel felt it was not enough. Along the way, he had been scared of Captain Lincoln snatching the gun. If that happened, he would fail to save his boss, and they would also be in danger of being thrown in jail. Therefore, he raised his voice even more. "If you hadn't refused to let her go, would we have done this? We are lawful citizens." Samuel started patting his own chest. "You still want to use snipers on us now? Here, aim at me." He handed the gun back to Captain Lincoln, pointing at his own chest, saying, "Kill me with one shot. Go ahead, shoot. If my boss dies because of you, I don't want to live either." Captain Lincoln didn't know what to say. The officers around him were all dumbfounded. Looking at the gun in his hand, Captain Lincoln glanced at the situation in the ward, still somewhat puzzled. could someone be so severely inebriated? The police officer following him was also confused. Yes, her blood report was normal just yesterday, and today she suddenly got worse. It games, health bars dropped gradually. Minded her health was settling a lot, just like a character with a tiny health bar. Samuel couldn't believe what he heard. He twitched his mouth and was about to reprimand the two when Holly spoke. What disease does she have? Her voice was full of worry, and Samuel felt bad about scolding her. On hearing that, Matthew, the doctor, frowned. Didn't I tell you already? She has genetic iron deficiency anemia. It's a rare condition. Her body doesn't absorb any iron. She has to solely rely on drips. Holly anxiously asked, how could she have such a condition? I haven't heard about it before. Matthew adjusted his glasses, and his nice-looking eyes were piercing behind the lenses. He calmly said, have you heard of all the diseases in the world? Even if you don't believe it, when she became ill, didn't she have all sorts of symptoms you didn't notice? Holly lowered her head. I'm sorry, Matthew said. What use is your apology to me? You should apologize to the person inside. Holly tightened her jaw and looked into the ward, but she didn't dare to go in. She hesitated for a long time and finally just stood outside. Matthew had already entered the ward. As soon as he entered, he saw Lewis standing next to the bed. Lewis slowly turned his head. Their eyes met, and none of them spoke for a while. Lewis's deep gaze scanned Matthew. He still noticed the latter's special feeling toward Kira. He asked in a displeased tone, and you are their attending doctor. After Matthew said this, he added, and also your godbrother. Lewis's pupils abruptly contracted. After a while, he stood up and extended his hand to Matthew with a smirk on his face. Hello, godbrother. Matthew frowned. I'm your godbrother. And mine as well. Lewis said in a light tone, and his presence was overwhelming. We're husband and wife, after all. Husband and wife. Matthew stiffened suddenly. She didn't tell you. Then I apologize to you on her behalf. Lewis said in a deep voice. Matthew was shocked. Kira felt that she had slept for a very long time. In her dream, she became younger, returning to the way she was when she was 3 years old. She was looking out of the basement window, watching Isla running around outside in a beautiful dress, while Mrs. Olson gently wiped off Isla's sweat. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Poppy walked in. Kira shivered. Poppy's vicious eyes landed on her. Following Kira's gaze, she saw the scene outside and walked over, grabbed Kira's hair, and brutally pushed her head into a basin of water next to her. Kira heard Poppy's voice in and out of the water, as if it was coming from a far-off distance. What are you looking at? My daughter should live like a princess, and you're unfit for a sewer. You belong in the drainage. Kira felt her dream turning into a nightmare. Kira shook her head, struggling. She didn't want to rot there forever. She didn't want to live in a filthy ditch either. So, with the little time she had, she studied hard, striving to work her way up. She was determined to change her own fate. At the age of 4, she had never been to kindergarten. She secretly observed Isla, learning a foreign language. When Isla stumbled over a word, Kira was quick to respond. She thought she would receive praise from her mother. However, she never ever expected that what was about to occur was almost a complete disaster. Poppy praised her and unexpectedly gave her a piece of cake. The sweet and rich cream in her mouth gave her a sense of satisfaction. She was reluctant to swallow it. She thought her life was going to change. Poppy held her hand with a smile and took her out, only to hand her over to a human trafficker. She didn't cry or make a fuss. After all, although there was no freedom. She got enough to eat, had warm clothes, and didn't have to see her mother. She felt that was the happiest time in her life. The boy was puzzled and asked, "Why?" She said, "'Cause no one hates me here." The boy pondered her words before asking, "What's your name?" She shook her head. It was a laughing matter. She, at the age of 4, still didn't have a name and didn't have a household registration number. All the other children would cry and make a fuss, while she smiled every day. The human trafficker was the least guarded against her. So, in the end, the boy handed her a bag of sleeping drugs to put in the trafficker's food. She did it. As the children were running haphazardly away, she just stood there. The boy asked her, "Why don't you leave?" She shook her head. "I don't know where to go." "Then come home with me." The boy extended a hand toward her, and she took his hand. He didn't go home with him in the end, because they were so young. They were rescued by the police as soon as they descended the mountain. Her identity was confirmed, and she was sent back with the Olsen family. Before parting, she held onto the boy's leg and asked him in confusion, "Didn't you say you would take me home?" A police officer beside them chuckled. "Little girl, you aren't his kid. You can go to his home." She had tears in her eyes. "But I don't want to go home. I want to be with him forever." The boy stroked her head and asked her, "Is it because you'll be beaten when you go home?" The police officer didn't take note of this. After all, children of their age often made a big fuss at home, and getting spanked was just part of life. However, the boy took her seriously and said, "Wait, when we grow up, I'll come and marry you and take you to my home." Kira woke up abruptly. The scenes from her dream passed by like a fast-forwarded slideshow, leaving her momentarily confused about what was real and what was a dream. She didn't know about others, but she remembered clearly everything that happened when she was 4. She remembered that the boy gave her a nickname, 11, because she was the 11th child who was trafficked there. She remembered the taste of chocolate. She remembered the sunlight pouring into the dark basement, and the dust dancing in the light. That was the happiest time when she was a kid. And this year, she turned 22. Yet, that boy still hasn't come to marry her. A bitter smile emerged on Kira's face. It wasn't that she was really fond of him. The 4-year-old child knew nothing about love. His existence was the pillar that supported her through countless episodes of abuse and assault. For other children, their light was a superhero. Her superhero was that boy. Unfortunately, the boy was only a kid. He must have long forgotten about her. Kira blinked and finally realized the strange atmosphere in the room. She turned her head and saw Lewis sitting next to her, asking, "Do you want some water?" Before Kira could react, Matthew's voice came from the other side. "Irrelevant people should leave now. I have to examine the patient." He picked up the stethoscope and came to the bedside, looking at Lewis. Lewis's face was gloomy. "I'm not an irrelevant person," Matthew continued. "Apart from the patient and the doctor, everyone else is irrelevant. Moreover, I have to examine the patient, which requires removing her clothes. It's not appropriate for you to be here." Lewis frowned. "It's appropriate for you to do it." Matthew walked to Kira and lifted her blouse. "I'm a doctor. In my eyes, there is no distinction of gender." Luke wanted to say something more, but when he saw the segment of her slender waist in her blouse, he blushed and immediately left the room. After leaving the room, Tom, who was waiting outside, subconsciously peeked inside. Luke immediately locked the doorway, shut the door, The journalist inquired, "About your father's murder case, what do you have to say?" Connor seemed somewhat not used to facing the camera, so he faltered. "My cousin, she didn't do it intentionally. It was an accident. Your father was a gambler. I knew him too." Connor hesitated for a moment. "Sometimes, yes. But there's nothing much to do about it. You can't change who you were born to. But I would like to say one thing for my cousin. Over the years, my father has been constantly going to her for money. And what happened was indeed manslaughter. I'm ready to issue a letter of understanding for my cousin, and hope that the police will deal with her leniently." This interview was initially unremarkable, but after those words, someone in the crowd shouted, "Did you know that your good cousin has been released on bail for a ridiculous reason? Anemia is said to have affected her health. Is she going to evade the crime?" With these words, the whole news suddenly heated up. Hashtags such as hashtag second generation rich eligible for bail, hashtag rich brat gets away with murder, and hashtag money buys innocence for the rich immediately went on the trending list. Everyone questioned Kira's eligibility for bail. At a glance, it was clear someone was behind this and paid for the top rent. Lewis's face darkened. "You'll find out who paid for it." Yes. After that, Tom surveyed the surroundings. "I just discovered that some reporters asked me in." Lewis's face suddenly turned cold. "Light the people and secure the area." Kira was physically weak. Turned down. Lord, Matthew put the stethoscope aside. Next to Kira. Matthew. Matthew sneered. "You didn't even tell me you got married. Still your brother." Differently. "I did." Matthew seemed to perceive and changed the topic. "What dream did you just have? Calling someone brother?" Will smiled. "I was 3 or 4 years old. If it weren't for this, she wouldn't have felt. But bringing it up like this, remember the conversation in the dream. What did it mean?" Apart from being abducted by traffickers at the age of 4, she also remembered being beaten at 3. In reality, most children at the age of 3 should have little memory. She vaguely remembered being beaten at that age, but perhaps the memory was so profound that in her dreams she could clearly hear Poppy scolding. "Listen, my daughter should be living a life of luxury, and you only deserve to live forever in this filthy gutter in the stinking sewer." Kira smiled bitterly. She didn't expect to have such a dream after so long. Perhaps dreams revealed one's thoughts. She often dreamed of being Isla and Mrs. Olsen being her mother. Matthew asked, "What about when you were 3 or 4? "Nothing." Kira didn't want to talk about the past. Her condition was peculiar. After iron was introduced into her system, all symptoms of anemia gradually disappeared, and she was fully revitalized. However, she still needed to store more iron, so she had to stay on an IV for a couple more days. Taking in too much in one day could overwhelm her body. She picked up her phone and found a message online. Her username was Miss S, and she was fairly well known in the reporter circle. The person who sent her the message was named Josh, who had been following her for over 2 years. Josh wrote, "Miss S, I won't back down this time. I want to be like you, fearless in the face of authority, and brave enough to expose the truth to the public. If you can see this message, I hope you can give me your blessing." Kira was perplexed. As she was puzzling over it, There was a knock at her door. Holly walked in with Connor Hill. Connor kept his head down, looking as timid as ever. When he entered the ward, he first glanced at Kira, and then immediately lowered his head again. Hello, Kira. Kira wasn't close to the Hill family members, and Finley Hill had only sought her out for money over the years. This cousin of hers was quiet and studious. He managed to earn a spot at the prestigious Oceanian University through sheer effort. She was still courteous toward him. What's up? Connor then spoke. I came to deliver a letter of forgiveness. Kira was taken aback. Connor then looked at Captain Lincoln, who had come in with him, his eyes teary. I consulted with a lawyer. By submitting a letter of forgiveness, even if you're sentenced, it can be reduced to within 10 years. He bowed his head. Kira, I was terrified when I called the police. I didn't mean to. My father wasn't a good person. He got what he deserved. It was my fault that you ended up behind bars. Captain Lincoln frowned. Even if he was a bad person, he should have been punished by the law, not dealt with privately by you. Connor's eyes were bloodshot, and he growled. I did report him. When he was gambling, I called the police. But after you arrested him, he was only detained for a month and then released. He continued to gamble. We lost our house. My mom ran off with someone else, and I had no place to live. I had no choice but to work my hardest. He even took my scholarship money. Even his own son was treated like this, let alone his niece. You don't understand our suffering. So don't stand on your high moral ground and judge us. He tried to wipe away the tears. I know I shouldn't say this, but when I saw he was dead, I was confused. But now I only feel relieved. After saying this, he covered his face and squatted down slowly. I'm such a jerk. My dad's dead, and I can finally breathe. Even though I have to repay this debt of $5 million, I see hope. You wouldn't understand. When he was alive, he was greedy, like a bottomless pit. His sobs choked his words. Captain Lincoln stiffened but remained silent. The only sound in the room was Connor's stifling sobs. Kira said nothing. Others might think she had lived a comfortable life, but the truth was, her life hadn't been any better than Connor's. At least Finley Hill had never starved Connor. After a while, Connor finally stopped crying, wiped his tears, and stood up. I'm sorry. I lost my composure. It's okay. Captain Lincoln patted his shoulder. We understand. Kira then slowly said, Thank you for your letter of forgiveness, but I don't need it. As I said, I'm not the killer. Connor was stunned, as if he didn't understand. Kira, I asked about this. If you plead guilty and show remorse, you'll at most be sentenced to 3 years. But if you insist on being innocent, you might be sentenced to over 10 years. I know, but I didn't kill him. If I didn't kill them, I can't admit to anything, said Kira flatly. Connor didn't say anything. After a moment, he turned toward Captain Lincoln to ask a stupid question. As my father's son, can I choose not to pursue this matter? Captain Lincoln said, This is a criminal case. Even if you don't pursue it, we still will. Connor tightened his jaw and looked at Kira. Then I can't help you. Kira shook her head. That's all right. Again, Connor lowered his head. Kira, get some rest. I have to leave now. Okay. Connor took 2 steps away and suddenly turned to Captain Lincoln. Captain Lincoln, about the money that was found at the scene. Could you give it to me now? I borrowed it from my classmates. The money was scattered on the ground, and some of it was stained with blood, so it was used as evidence and kept at the police station. Captain Lincoln shook his head. The police department has its rules. It's evidence, and we can't give it to you for now. Only after we have confirmed that there are no clues can it be returned to you. Connor then hung his head. But that's next month's living expenses of my dorm mates. I promised them that I would return it as soon as possible. All of them had worked part-time before, and they knew that the students needed their every hard-earned penny. Suddenly losing $20,000 was bound to cause strain among these students. Kira narrowed her eyes. All of a sudden, she said, "Wait." Connor then turned back. Kira picked up her phone. "I'll have Samuel give you $20,000 for your emergency needs." Connor's eyes lit up. Thank you, Kira. As soon as the money at the police station is returned, I'll give it back to you. Kira sent a message to Samuel. Not long after, Samuel walked in with $20,000 in cash and handed it to Connor. Connor's eyes stung. He took the money. Kira, my father has borrowed a lot of money from you over the years. Don't worry. Once I start earning money, I'll pay you back. Don't worry about it. He is he, and you're you. Just as Kira finished saying that, there was a sudden click at the door. Everyone turned their heads to see a thin, unfamiliar man, nervously clutching his mobile phone, having captured the earlier moment. When everyone noticed him, the man immediately charged in. Connor Hill, I knew there must be a financial transaction when you granted forgiveness to the murderer of your father. You are not worthy to be a son. After he finished speaking, he turned his gaze to Kira. Noticing her healthy complexion without any signs of anemia, he scoffed. What's all this about being on bail pending trial due to a near-death condition? Is this what a near-death condition looks like? He took out his phone and shot a video of Kira. So, wealthy people have privileges, right? They can find a way to get bail, no matter what. He turned to Captain Lincoln. Is this how you guys uphold the law impartially? Captain Lincoln frowned and declared sternly, Journalists are not allowed in here. Please leave. I'm not leaving. The journalist was very agitated as he directed his camera at them. I'm live streaming. All these procedures are being broadcast live, and I'll expose you. Captain Lincoln immediately made a move to stop the man. You are invading other people's privacy. When cases are not clear enough, many people are getting away with it. As a citizen, I have the right to know the truth in any case. The young journalist was fearless. Unfortunately, Captain Lincoln had already taken his mobile phone. Cutting off his live streaming, Captain Lincoln was furious. What's your name? Which newspaper are you from? I'll hold you responsible. The young journalist lifted his chin and sneered. Don't try to scare me. My idol is Miss S, who bravely reported on a certain company's pollution discharge despite the strong power at the time. I'm afraid of nothing, but only seeking the truth. Hearing these words, Kira was perplexed. Suddenly recalling the message online from earlier, she was greatly amazed. Are you Josh? Josh? The young journalist was surprised. How do you know that? Kira opened her phone, found the right social media app, clicked into Josh's account, and sure enough, she saw his photo. But Josh misunderstood her. I didn't expect you to know who I am. But even if you do know my work address and company and try to use power to pressure the company to fire me, I won't compromise. He took a step forward and continued. Miss S once said, if every journalist is looking out for their own safety, then many truths in this world will be covered up. Even if I can't be a journalist anymore, there are millions of journalists who will stand out. Don't think that you can hide what you've done forever. Kira didn't know what to say. Listening to his cliched speech, she chuckled. You just graduated from college, didn't you? Josh nodded. Yes. What about it? No wonder you're so naive. Josh was dumbfounded. He couldn't help but look at Kira. It was as if she didn't realize he was talking about her. Captain Lincoln grabbed his arm. Enough. This is a hospital. Please leave. He threw Josh's phone back to him, then grabbed his arm and took him straight out the door. It wasn't until then that Kira turned to look at Holly. But when she did, Holly immediately avoided her gaze. Her pretty face was tense, and she seemed rather uncomfortable. Only then did she say, Well, I have things to do. I'll step out for a moment. She quickly left the room. Kira chuckled. Still the same old stick in the mud. Holly was so straightforward in character and was remorseful after doing something wrong. But she didn't blame Holly. Iron deficiency anemia was indeed a rare condition. When she first mentioned it, hardly anyone would believe her. She looked perfectly fine when she said she had anemia, but Holly still ran a routine blood test for her, which was more than what the average person would do. As Kira was pondering, Samuel suddenly asked, Boss, do you know who the murderer is? Kira raised an eyebrow, but said nothing. Samuel chuckled. Hey, Josh is live streaming again. Kira was startled and looked at Samuel's phone. Josh was live streaming just now, and he was standing outside the hospital, talking to the camera. My live stream was interrupted earlier. I'm back to say hi to everyone. I'm okay. They haven't lost all conscience. They didn't kill me because I saw their transaction. People left comments below the video. The world hasn't collapsed because of the perseverance of people like you. I knew it. No matter how terrible one's father is, he's still family. How could a son provide a letter of forgiveness to a murderer? No surprise, there was a financial transaction. The evil of capital. Can money disregard human life? Claiming anemia as grounds for bail. It's utterly shameless. Such people must be brought to justice. I don't understand. The evidence is clear. Why aren't they arresting anyone? Isn't this kind of case straightforward to solve? Just as Josh was making light of himself and everyone was criticizing Kira, a voice rang out. Hello? Josh turned his head and saw Holly in her police uniform, walking toward him authoritatively. I accept your live interview. Josh was delighted. Officer Sims, they told me earlier that you are a forensic doctor. Can you assure fairness in front of the camera? I can. Holly looked at the camera. Josh said, Then may I ask, is the murder suspect, Miss Olsen, really out on bail due to anemia? Isn't this excuse laughable? Holly adjusted her uniform and also straightened her hat. Then she stood straight, looking at the camera and said, I can verify that Miss Olsen is indeed suffering from severe anemia, which is threatening her life. I signed her bail application, and I assure you she's definitely not trying to escape punishment. Josh didn't expect her to say that and sneered. Officer Sims, how can you guarantee it for her? Holly paused. She clenched her jaw, her upright gaze fixed on the screen, and she said word by word, Because of this uniform. She spoke forcefully. I can tell everyone here openly that if Miss Olsen's bail is to escape, I'll take off this uniform for good. Josh was stunned by her determination. Holly looked at Josh. Sometimes the truth isn't what you see. The inherent impressions of human beings can be harmful. Who says anemia isn't life-threatening? Don't let short-sightedness and narrow-mindedness affect your judgment, thus making irreversible mistakes. She seemed to be talking to Josh and to herself at the same time. Having said that, Holly turned and left. Kira looked at her phone and was deeply moved. Holly valued her police uniform the most. But when they were at the police station, Captain Lincoln told Holly that Kira would apply for bail. Holly made a guarantee with her uniform. Even though Kira indeed applied for bail now, Holly was still willing to stand up and vouch for her. Your friend, although a bit stubborn, is good to you. Lewis walked in at some point. His tall figure made the room seem rather small. He sat down beside her. Kira nodded. A smile tugged at the corner of her mouth. Yes, although she's a bit silly. She looked at Lewis. In her mind, she couldn't help but think of when she was at the police station. After Holly misunderstood her and thought she had fought Poppy, she was going to send Kira to solitary confinement. Kira was filled with despair. In the dark detention center, Lewis arrived like a deity, holding Captain Lincoln hostage. Then, he even picked her up and took her to the hospital. Being held by him then, she could smell his fresh scent. His tall and burly figure gave her a sense of security like never before. Maybe it was because she was ill then. She felt extremely weak. Now that she thought about it, she felt... He was so bold. What kind of place was that? Who did he take hostage? What if he was shot dead on the spot by the armed police trying to rescue Captain Lincoln? He was even more silly than Holly. Kira was lost in thought and suddenly said, "Thank you." Her politeness suddenly made Lewis feel a bit uncomfortable. Without thinking, he wanted to say, "If anything happens to you, Granny will be heartbroken." But he swallowed the words in the end. He rubbed his nose, his face softening a little. "You're welcome." His reaction reminded Kira of something. In her memories, the boy she met when she was 4 would also rub his nose when embarrassed. Also, that boy was afraid of cats. Kira suddenly asked, "Were you kidnapped when you were little?" Lewis paused, his eyes instantly darkening. "Why would you ask that?" The moment Kira asked the question, she felt she had been too abrupt. Nobody wanted to talk about their childhood, especially not things like that. Moreover, that boy wasn't from Oceanian back then. Otherwise, he would have been brought back by the police. What were the chances of such coincidences in the world? Kira cracked a smile and was just about to brush it off when the door to her room opened again. Holly walked in, and Kira and Lewis quickly dropped the subject. Holly still looked a bit uncomfortable, but she approached Kira's bed, still looking rather nonchalant. She had a cup of honey water in hand, which she handed to Kira, then averted her gaze and awkwardly said, "I misunderstood you. I apologize. I hope you won't file a complaint against Captain Lincoln and the others. Everything was due to my poor judgment." Kira sighed, looked at Lewis, and after seeing him nod, she said, "Don't worry. Mr. Horton and I won't press any charges." Holly seemed taken aback. Why? After being wronged like that, no ordinary person would let them off the hook. The police station would definitely punish her and Captain Lincoln, and might even compensate them for their emotional distress. Kira just smiled faintly, but didn't answer. If it were someone else, she wouldn't have put up with it. But Holly, Kira fooled Holly back in junior high school. Holly seemed to understand something and held her lips tightly. "Don't worry. I'll help you catch the murderer and clear your name as soon as possible." After saying this, however, she noticed that Kira and Lewis's expressions remained unchanged. There was no sign of surprise on their faces, which surprised her. "You know who the murderer is?" Kira raised her eyebrows and looked at Lewis. She had her suspicions and had just confirmed. Did Lewis also know? I've already sent someone to follow Connor Hill. Holly had a
Bakit?
sudden realization. So, Connor Hill is the murderer? Kira didn't respond to this, but asked Lewis instead. How did you find out? Lewis began in a detached manner. His deep voice, especially when analyzing a case, had a unique charm to it. There were only 4 people on the scene that day. The victim was killed right then and there. Apart from you, me, and Tom, Connor was the only one left. I've always been wondering that if you killed Finley Hill, where did the voice answering the door come from? There's only one possibility, a recording. Holly didn't agree. But no recording device was found on the scene, and there were no relevant recordings in Finley Hill's phone. His phone fell out of his pocket, and there was no trace of anyone touching it. Kira said coolly, It wasn't his phone that recorded the sound. It was Connor's. When he saw the victim lying on the ground, he deliberately scattered the things in his hand everywhere. Afterward, while making the emergency call, he picked up the phone from the floor. She didn't notice anything off at that moment. After all, it was common for a phone to drop to the ground after money had been spilled all over. It was only after using the process of elimination to determine that it was Connor that these details slowly came together. The only person who could convince Finley to record the sound in advance was someone he trusted. With Finley's character, the only person he could trust was Connor, his son. Connor somehow tricked him into recording those words, then left his own phone at the scene of the crime, creating the false impression that Finley was still alive. In this way, Lewis and Tom became indirect witnesses to Kira's alleged murder. The way Finley felt toward Kira when she entered the room wasn't because he was lunging at her. He was losing his balance and toppled over. Paired with that recording, anyone's natural reaction would be to push the other person away. If it were not for Kira's keen hearing and the cautious character of Lewis and Tom, all of them would have thought that Kira had accidentally killed Finley. The situation was nearly unsolvable. Holly was stunned by their explanation and then said solemnly, Then I'll arrange for his arrest immediately. If he recorded it on his phone, even if he deleted it, we can still recover it. That would be direct evidence. But Kira shook her head. Not yet. This was unusual for Holly, and she was a little anxious. Why not? I need to clear your name as soon as possible. Don't you know that people are slandering you online right now? Even though she clarified it just now, netizens still wouldn't believe her. Lewis said calmly, I think Miss Olsen probably has a plan in mind. Holly looked at Kira with uncertainty. Kira just nodded and said, Holly, I need you to do me a favor. Delay it for a few more days. Finley said before he died that he would tell me a secret about Isla Olsen. Coincidentally, the moment I went to meet with him, Connor killed him. I don't believe for a second that this incident had nothing to do with Isla. Holly was stunned. So, you're using Connor to draw Isla Olsen out? She said with a bitter smile. Kira, I remember now. The main reason I misunderstood you back then was because Isla asked me to plead for you. Looking back, she must have been using me. But even now, I still can't accuse her. She's such a cunning person, and even if she really did instruct Connor, she wouldn't have left any clues behind. The police department probably won't be able to find evidence to arrest her. Kira shook her head. Connor's intent to kill most likely existed long before. Isla was at best just a temptress in the whole matter. I didn't plan to put her in jail for this. Holly didn't understand. Then what is your plan? Kira wanted to say something, but her throat itched a little, and she coughed. Lewis quickly said, Have some water first. I'll explain it for you. Kira paused and obediently took a sip of the honey water. Lewis continued, I guess that what Miss Olsen really wanted to know was Isla's secret. Kira's eyes lit up, and she nodded in agreement. Lewis went on to add, Finley knew an important secret about Isla. Since he trusted his son so much, he would have definitely told Connor the secret. From what I observed, Connor is a thoughtful and meticulous person. He wouldn't easily reveal Isla's secret. I think Miss Olsen wants to pit Connor against Isla and let him realize what Isla is really like, so that when he's arrested later, he won't help Isla keep the secret. Kira felt a warmth spread through her body after finishing the cup of honey water. What Lewis had explained was exactly her plan. Did Isla think killing Finley could secure her secret forever? But Connor was still around. Upon hearing this explanation, Holly still seemed anxious. But netizens are slandering Connor, and you too. It's okay. Kira placed the cup on the bedside table, her voice full of powerful confidence. Rumors are like a tickle to me, but for him, they'll be a mighty calamity that can throw him into confusion. Her confidence left Holly at a loss for words. Holly seemed to remember something and said, Kira, let me tell you now. The message Finley left for you on his phone is... Kira hurriedly stopped her. Don't say anything. Don't go against your professional ethics. Holly paused. Then she coughed to cover up her embarrassment. Actually, it was okay to tell you about the recording. It had nothing to do with the case. I was just... She fell silent before finally admitting it. I just wanted to make things difficult for you. Kira didn't know what to say. She whipped her brow in resignation. Well, then tell me. Holly looked embarrassed. Her face was still serious as she spoke. The last words were, Dear niece, Connor knows the secret too. Please make sure his tuition fee is covered. The room was quiet for a while. Kira frowned. Even though she had guessed that Finley wouldn't leave a message about any secrets, and that Connor surely knew something, she still found the message strange. She had gone to Finley intending to pay $5 million to buy the secret. If she learned the secret from Finley, why would she still have to cover Connor's tuition? Or was it that Finley had never planned to sell her the secret? Kira shook her head, grateful for her arrangement. She didn't accuse Connor of being the murderer right after the crime. Otherwise, she might never be able to pry the truth out of him. Now, she would wait for Connor to crack under the criticism. However, Holly was a bit worried. Kira, don't overdo it. If he throws away his phone, you'll lose the most crucial piece of evidence, and you'll never turn this case around. At this, Kira frowned. After the incident, she was taken to the police station right away and didn't get a chance to tell Samuel what needed to be done. She wondered if Connor had changed his phone. No, he won't. Lewis suddenly interjected. He said calmly, After the incident, Connor threw away his original phone and switched to an identical one. I've already retrieved the first one. A spark flickered in Kira's eyes, and she smiled. Impressive, Mr. Horton. Since taking over the company, Lewis had heard countless compliments, but the straightforward praise from Kira made his cheeks slightly flushed. He smiled slightly. You flatter me, Miss Olsen. Holly looked from one to the other and suddenly said, You two are married, yet you call each other Mr. Horton and Miss Olsen. I first thought you weren't acquainted, but you actually seem to understand each other so well. Is this your form of displaying affection? Once again, the room fell quiet all of a sudden. Kira looked away from Lewis and seemed to be blushing. She felt fine when others addressed her as Miss Olsen, but Lewis's deep voice was like a feather lightly teasing her heart, bringing a tingling sensation. She didn't notice Lewis's ears turning red. Meanwhile, Connor had no idea what was coming for him as he made a cup of tea. Shortly after leaving the hospital, he returned to his college campus and had a snack before talking to his roommates. He happily repaid them the 20,000 cash he borrowed. Some took 6,000 and snidely commented, "I knew you seemed way too confident about being able to pay back the loan, so someone was ready to pick up the tab for you." Connor didn't understand what they meant, but another second-generation rich student threw the money on the ground. "Hell no! I don't want your filthy money. You earned it by selling out your own father. Do you have no shame spending it?" Connor was stunned. "What do you mean?" "You want to know?" The guy handed Connor his phone. "Check this out." Connor took over the phone and saw the footage of Samuel giving him money, and the video was now spreading on the internet. Everyone was slamming him for being an ungrateful son who signed a letter of understanding for money. Connor waved his hands. "No, that's not true. I didn't take her money. This 20,000 is what I borrowed from you guys. It was only an emergency fund she gave me because the police had seized." His roommates didn't believe him. "If you say so, we'll take your word for it." Connor thought they believed his explanation and let out a sigh of relief. One of them picked up the cash left on the floor by the rich kid. "Don't throw it away. You can buy us dinner with it." The rich kid sneered. "Fine, let's go." As Connor followed them to the door, intending to join them, someone stopped him. "Where are you going?" Connor was taken aback. "Are we going to have dinner?" "Oh no, we would rather not have you. If you come with us, we'll probably get interrupted by reporters. You'd better stay in the dorm." His roommates went out, leaving Connor alone in the room. He had a gloomy look in his eyes. He moistened his lips, trying not to give it much thought. After all, having a father like that, he was used to the strange looks from others. He pulled out his phone and called Isla. As soon as the call was connected, Isla's gentle voice came across. "What's wrong?" Connor remained silent. Isla sighed. "I saw the comments online. Actually, it's a good thing. I can force Kira to confess sooner, and you'll be safe." Connor responded with a non-committal. "Mm-hmm." Isla comforted him. "Connor, you have to live with it. If you can't bear it, everything will be revealed. You can't go to jail. If you do, what will become of me?" Connor's expression softened. Having a father like that was indeed painful. His neighbors and classmates all looked down on him. Only Isla was different. She was like a beam of light that shone into his world when they were in junior high school. She would bring him breakfast and tutor him when he didn't do well in his studies. She told him not to mind the looks other people threw his way. He only got into Oceanian University because of Isla. Her gentle demeanor and the image of the girl next door made him admire her ever since he was a teenager. So when she appeared in front of him and said that his father had threatened her and asked for $5 million, he became unusually enraged. His father could bully anyone in the world except her. That was why Connor decided to kill Finley and frame Kira. Connor had always desired Isla, but the situation was different now. He had killed for her, so... Connor lowered his eyes and asked, "When can we be together?" Isla paused before replying softly, "Soon. The Horton family is going to break off the engagement with me. Once that happens, my parents should be able to accept you." "Really?" Connor's eyes lit up. "Can you come to see me now? I miss you." Isla said, "Connor, I'm busy." "What could be more important than me?" Connor looked around his empty room, his eyes becoming darker. "Isla, just before my father died, he told me your secret." Meanwhile, at the hospital, Kira and Lewis were listening to their conversation. Upon hearing this, Kira raised an eyebrow. Finley had indeed told Connor the truth. The next moment, she heard Isla say in disbelief, "Connor, stop talking nonsense. What kind of secret can be between your father and me?" scoffed. Of course, it's about you and Kira. Kira couldn't believe her ears. Was this the evidence she needed? Isla still stubbornly retorted. What kind of secret could there possibly be between me and Kira? Exactly. Kira also wanted to know what the secret had to do with her. A secret so significant it could let Isla be threatened by Finley for so many years. Are you sure you want me to say it out loud? The faint voice of Connor added a sense of pressure to Isla's reluctance. Isla immediately changed her tone. I'm on my way to the hospital to visit Kira with my mother. I'll ask her to put some pressure on Kira so she'll confess her guilt as soon as possible. After I'm done with all this, I'll come to see you, okay? Connor finally smiled. All right, I'll wait for you tonight. The call ended. However, Kira frowned and shuddered. She didn't expect Isla and Connor to have such a relationship. Wasn't Isla 2 years older than Connor? She felt a chill run down her spine. Lewis, standing by the window, said, Mrs. Olsen is here. In the phone call, Isla had already mentioned that she would be coming to visit Kira with Mrs. Olsen. Thus, Kira wasn't surprised. She quickly freshened up and lightly patted her cheeks, adding some color to her face. Seeing her actions, Lewis paused slightly. Are you afraid that Mrs. Olsen will worry? Yes. Kira rushed into the bathroom, changed herself out of the hospital gown, and came out looking radiant again. After all these preparations, there was a sound at the door. Mrs. Olsen walked in with Isla and Taylor Olsen. Upon entering, Mrs. Olsen's eyes were immediately on Kira. Seeing her looking as usual, she breathed a sigh of relief and quickly walked over to her. Kira, are you all right? Why didn't you tell me when such a big thing happened? If it weren't for the news, when were you planning to inform me? Kira felt a warmth in her chest. Just as she was about to answer, Taylor sneered. By looking at her healthy appearance, where does she look sick? As it says on the internet, she just wants to apply for bail. Kira's smile froze on her face, and she slowly lowered her head, but Mrs. Olsen held her hand tightly. Kira's not that kind of kid. Don't talk nonsense. Then she looked worriedly at Kira. I didn't know you had anemia when you were living with the Olsen family before. Have you been too tired since you moved out? Did you not eat enough? Taylor scoffed. We gave her living expenses every month. How could she have malnutrition? Kira frowned and immediately turned to him. You gave me living expenses every month? How come I've never received it? Hearing those words, Taylor was stunned. Mrs. Olsen frowned even more. What? You didn't receive it? How have you been managing all these years? Kira clenched her jaw. She really didn't know about the living expenses, and she hadn't received a single penny over these years. However, Taylor didn't believe her. Do you hear her talking nonsense here? She claims she didn't receive any money. How did she pay for her bills over the years then? She even went to college. Kira scoffed immediately. Mr. Olsen, I haven't taken a penny from the Olsen family since I left the Olsen residence. Do you need me to show you my bank statement? Taylor was taken aback. Mrs. Olsen turned to Isla. Isla, didn't I ask you to send money to Kira every month? Didn't you send it? Isla's eyes flickered, clearly flustered, but soon her head dropped. Mom, I gave the money to Aunt Hill. Could she have kept it from Kira? How could she do this? When Poppy was mentioned, Taylor's face was full of disgust. She's such a selfish person. If you gave the money to her, it's no wonder she kept it to herself. Taylor looked at Kira again. Did you hear that? It's not that we didn't give you money, but your mother embezzled it. That has nothing to do with the Olsen family. His manner clearly informed Kira that he, as her father, had provided enough money. Kira chuckled, but before she could retort, Mrs. Olsen intervened. Taylor, no matter what, Kira didn't receive the money. Therefore, she had to work hard, which ruined her health. This is where you, as a father, failed in your responsibilities. You are too kind-hearted. You're still worrying about her health. She's not sick at all. She's just pretending. Taylor didn't feel guilty at all. Instead, he frowned at Kira. Before we came, we asked the lawyer. Your despicable uncle was the one who made a mistake first. You accidentally hurt him, so you won't be guilty of a major crime. Confess now, so the news can be suppressed. Otherwise, if this continues and your identity is revealed, the Olsen family will also suffer because of you. Isla also piped up. Kira, Dad is right. If your relationship with the Olsen family is discovered, our family stocks will plummet severely, and we need to control the remarks on the internet. Dad is thinking about what's best for you. If you confess, you can get a lighter sentence. If you refuse to confess, you'll face more years in prison. Kira didn't care about the two of them. She just looked at Mrs. Olsen. Do you agree with them? Mrs. Olsen patted her head. Kira, did you really accidentally kill that person? No. Do you have any evidence? Kira glanced at Isla and noticed her nervousness, whereupon she slowly said, No. Isla breathed a sigh of relief, but Mrs. Olsen looked troubled. But I just inquired from the police station, and the current evidence is very unfavorable to you. If you can't find strong evidence to discharge yourself, you'll likely lose this case. She bowed her head. Before we came, I consulted the lawyer, and his advice was for you to confess as soon as possible. Kira's heart sank a little when she heard this, but to her surprise, Mrs. Olsen held her hand the next moment. But you shouldn't confess to what you didn't do. Kira, stick to what you think is right and keep going. Kira's eyes lit up, and she nodded vigorously, but Taylor reproached. Don't let her fool you. They were in an abandoned hospital at the time. If she didn't murder him, was it a ghost that did? Now the whole internet is on a crusade against her. You're still supporting her now. You're spoiling the child too much. Isla also couldn't help saying,
Uy, itim
We
na
agreed to come here to persuade Kira to plead guilty. Otherwise, the reputation of the Olsen family will be affected, and Jake will break off our engagement. Are you going to be unfair to me again? All because of an illegitimate daughter? Mrs. Olsen was taken aback by these comments. She was speechless for a moment. Tears started to flow from Isla's eyes. Mom, in the end, is she your biological daughter, or am I your biological daughter? After saying this, she ran out crying. Mrs. Olsen looked a bit panicked. She looked at Kira, then outside the door, obviously hesitating. But eventually, she stood up and went after Isla with Taylor. The room quickly returned to its quiet state. Kira stared at the door, laughing at herself. Lewis, who had stayed in the corner of the room the whole time, watched Mrs. Olsen as she left. Did I ever mention to you that you and Mrs. Olsen seem more like a real mother and daughter than her and Isla? Kira was surprised to find herself agreeing with her husband's observation. What could it mean? Kira was slightly dazed upon hearing Lewis say that she and Mrs. Olsen seemed like mother and daughter. Then she lowered her head. Actually, many people have said that. Lewis didn't say anything and quietly listened to her explanation. Kira smiled. When we were little, Isla hated me so much simply because when I stood next to Mrs. Olsen, people always mistook me as Mrs. Olsen's daughter. Children didn't know how to hide their true feelings. Isla was very obviously targeting Kira back then. She would push Kira, hit her, and have a bunch of other kids curse her. Kira had been severely brainwashed by Poppy at the time, always thinking that she owed Isla, and forever keeping her head low in front of Isla, not knowing how to resist. Kira's eyes gradually became brooding. In fact, I had thought that maybe the reason why Poppy was so bad to me was because I wasn't her biological child at all. Unfortunately, I did a DNA test with her, and indeed, I'm her daughter. She had been kidnapped and sold for several months at the time. Upon returning, the police station requested that she and Poppy undergo a DNA test to ascertain the child's parentage. She wished at the time that she wasn't Poppy's daughter. Unfortunately, there was no such if. That's indeed quite a pity. Lewis's voice was low and soft. However, upon careful consideration, you and Mrs. Olsen don't really look alike. It's just that your temperaments are very similar. People who lived together tended to develop similar habits over time. When she was little, Kira's favorite thing to do was to observe Mrs. Olsen and learn how to interact with people from her. It was also thanks to Mrs. Olsen that she was able to awaken and stop being manipulated by Poppy. She smiled. I know we don't look alike. If any of my facial features looked like Mrs. Olsen, I would have thought of Mrs. Olsen as my mother. This self-deprecating remark made Lewis chuckle slightly. He lowered his gaze and said lightly, Maybe it's an intergenerational inheritance. Kira immediately looked at him. What was that? And nothing. Lewis felt that it was better not to say anything about the things that were uncertain to avoid disappointing her. Mrs. Olsen and Taylor rushed after Isla, who stormed out. They saw Isla enter the parking lot, and knowing that Isla wouldn't run off somewhere, they heaved a sigh of relief. Mrs. Olsen showed a hint of hesitation. Taylor, am I really favoring Kira? Am I neglecting Isla? Am I playing blatant favorites? It's not that bad. Taylor, always putting her first, replied objectively. You do like Kira very much, but you still have restraint. Isla is just a bit too jealous. Mrs. Olsen sighed. Why has Isla become like this? Neither you nor I are petty people. Taylor then held her arm. It's all my fault. In other families, without an illegitimate daughter, the children all grow up to be cheerful and positive. Our family is different. Plus, Kira is now Dr. Sal, and she outshines Isla, so Isla's jealousy is understandable. Mrs. Olsen was silent for a moment before speaking. The excellence of a person shouldn't only be defined by capability, especially seeing as everything in the family is given to Isla first, then Kira. Since she was little, Isla has had everything Kira may not have, but everything Kira had, Isla definitely had as well. So, what right does Isla have to blame Kira? And you too, pressuring Kira to confess just now wasn't right. However, Taylor rubbed his forehead. You forgot that people have close and distant relationships. Kira is just Poppy's daughter. In my heart, only your daughter is my daughter. If Isla and Kira's lives lay before me, and I could only choose one, I wouldn't hesitate to choose Isla, let alone make Kira confess her crime. He grabbed hold of Mrs. Olsen's shoulder. Shirley, you have to remember, no matter how outstanding Kira is, she has nothing to do with our family. Isla is our daughter. If Isla goes astray because you like Kira, will you regret it in the future? Mrs. Olsen was stunned. Taylor slowly said, You might as well keep your distance from Kira in the future. The three of us will live a calm life. Mrs. Olsen clenched her fists and slowly lowered her gaze, yet she felt a void in her heart. When the two of them reached the car, Isla had regained her composure. The family of three set off for the hospital. Today, the Allen family planned to return to Clarence, and Mrs. Olsen took Isla to apologize. Isla behaved herself very well. Only by obtaining the forgiveness of the Allen family would there possibly be hope that Jake won't call off the marriage. These days, Jake had completely ignored her, which made her anxious. The three of them arrived, and Mrs. Olsen apologized sincerely. The Allen family had prepared all their luggage and were waiting to go. Rebecca craned her neck to look outside, anticipating Kira's arrival. Kira had promised her that she would come to see her off. The agreed time had already passed. Why hadn't Kira come yet? On the other hand, after Mrs. Olsen apologized to Mr. and Mrs. Allen, she came over to Rebecca, took out a property ownership certificate from her bag, and handed it to Rebecca. Miss Allen, Isla said something inappropriate that hurt you. I know that nothing can make up for the harm she's caused you. I know the Allen family has everything, but this is a token of my goodwill. Rebecca was dumbfounded and looked at her father. Mrs. Allen was also a bit upset, feeling that Mrs. Olsen was trying to get rid of people with money. She stepped forward to take the property certificate, intending to return it to Mrs. Olsen. However, she suddenly saw the information on the certificate and was completely stunned. Wasn't it the most famous Golden Glory mansion in Clarence? The price of this residential area wasn't excessively high. Instead, the most valuable thing was the network of the homeowners in the residential area. The Golden Glory mansion was priceless. So many people wanted to buy property in that residential area, but couldn't. Never did they expect Mrs. Olsen to possess property there. She wasn't just giving away a house, but a network of connections and clans. Mrs. Allen was flabbergasted, looked at Mr. Allen. Mr. Allen also tried to turn it down. We can't accept it. However, Mrs. Olsen shook her head. I'm now settled in Oceanian and want nothing to do with the affairs in Clarence. This is our apology, so please, take it. Only then did Mr. Allen accept the generous gift. After giving the apology gift, Mrs. Olsen left with Taylor and Isla. After they left, Mrs. Allen couldn't help but express her amazement. Mrs. Olsen indeed does things big. She could give away such a significant property. Mr. Allen sighed. You haven't seen Lady South. Her demeanor is even better than Mrs. Olsen's. Mrs. Allen frowned. It's just a pity. Despite the mother and daughter both being such promising individuals, Isla is such an embarrassment. Mentioning Isla, Mr. Allen frowned as well. He suddenly thought of Kira. Upon thinking, Kira indeed looked a lot like Mrs. Olsen's mother, Lady South. He even initially thought that Lady South was Kira's grandmother. Mr. Allen paused momentarily, and then suddenly asked, Where's Miss Olsen? Hasn't she come yet? She can't come anymore. Frankie held his phone and frowned, saying, It appears that Miss Olsen has encountered some troubles. Rebecca said firmly, Can't leave. Miss Olsen is in trouble. I can't leave her at such a time and return to Clarence. Rebecca's words made Mr. and Mrs. Allen pause. Rebecca, this isn't time for tantrums. But Rebecca spoke up. Kira saved me when I was near death. Now that she's in trouble, how can I leave? The medical facilities in Oceanian are quite good. I'll stay in this hospital until Miss Olsen is safe. Mr. and Mrs. Allen looked at each other. What if Miss Olsen really killed that person? Rebecca's eyes turned red. Then I'll wait. Miss Olsen doesn't have much family or friends, and I'll see her every visitation day. It would be so heartbreaking if everyone else has visitors and only she doesn't. Mr. Allen couldn't help but chuckle. You're going to stay here forever. Rebecca lowered her head and fell silent, looking like the spoiled young lady she was again. Frankie looked at her and felt somewhat relieved. Ever since Rebecca's husband and mother-in-law betrayed her, she had lost a lot of confidence.